It's crack in the mailbox. Oh my god. The lady got crack. She doing transactions through her mailbox. What the fuck? Hey y'all, thank you so much for watching Miss Angie TV, where we talk about everything. And when I mean everything, I mean like episode number 8, y'all. We are on episode number 8 in my mommy issues series. I gotta really come up with the title for this series, and then whenever I come up with it, I'll let y'all know. As you can see by the title, this is gonna be about the time that my mom lied about having lupus, full-blown disease. She lied about it, and we're gonna get into it. And if you're wondering,
Angie, I thought you said you was gonna talk about the assault in your next video.
Yeah, I thought I was too, but then I was kind of like mapping out my, y'all know how like I map out my story times or whatever, and realized if I was to talk about the assault, this would turn into a storytime movie, and bitch, I'm not trying to do that. Hopefully this storytime turn into storytime movie like it did last time, because I said that it wasn't, but it was, so hopefully this ain't. So let me just go ahead and get into the story right now. So before we get into it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below, because you don't want to miss this series. You don't want to miss what is going to happen next, y'all. It gets juicier, juicier, and juicier every single story time. Let's go ahead and get right into the video. So last episode we left off, I was letting y'all know how my aunt agreed to allow my mom to go ahead and live with them. And whenever I mean them, I mean my aunt, her boyfriend, and her son. Maybe it was about 7 or 8, something around that age at this time. And she agreed to allow my mom to live with her, because in the last story time, when I'm really recapping, I really shouldn't be, because y'all need to just go ahead and look at the story if you don't know what happened. But just real quick, my grandma got a notice on her door saying that my mom, or saying that they realized, a notice, whatever, bitch, that they had an unauthorized guest in the apartment, and you can only have guests for like 3 days at a time, whenever like if they're like spending the night. So pretty much my mom had to move, and so that's what happened. So my mom ended up moving in with my aunt. Okay, so she moved in with her, and everything seems okay for maybe like the first day or so. Like she literally, like, it didn't take long for stuff to go to shits again. And so my mom had still been doing the whole arguing back and forth with Mouth and stuff, more than likely over the girl. Whenever I mean the girl, I mean Gorilla, and Gorilla is the mistress. Gorilla is my mom's ex-husband's mistress. And so he was still seeing her, obviously. And so even though my mama was in Houston, like I don't know, I guess she expected him to be faithful, bitch. I don't fucking know. He wasn't even being faithful while you were local, so I don't understand how she expected anything different from him. But that's neither here or there. That happened, and there were times where like she would argue with Mouth so bad, she would be like giving my daughter, because my daughter was with her at this time as well. And so my daughter was at my aunt's house along with my mom, and just spending time with her. And so my mom was like arguing with Mouth, and she was giving her a bath and arguing with him in the same, in the bathroom as my daughter, and just cursing and just using foul language, and just shit that y'all remember me telling y'all. My mama never, like, she never cursed. She didn't even really like to be in the same room as somebody who had a like dirty mouth. She was doing the same thing she was doing at my grandma's house, which is excessively washing clothes, excessively cleaning up, excessively cooking. Now she was also doing excessive cooking. Now let me tell y'all, growing up, my mama has always been a bomb ass cooker. Like, whenever the family back in the day before we moved to Houston, we would get together, my mama would always cook and stuff. Like, people looked forward to my mama cooking a certain dish or whatever. You know how y'all always have that one family member that, like, or that one auntie that just know how to fucking throw it down? Well, that's how my mama was. And so by this time, her cooking was alright, you know what I'm saying? But by this time also, whenever she started excessively cleaning up, she also started excessively cooking. And so it got to the point where like she was using my aunt's food, like cooking it up. Whenever she goes to her refrigerator to find whatever, she ain't got it there because my mom done cooked it all up on whatever the case may be. One day my mom made a big ass pot of gumbo and it didn't really taste the same. Like my mom used to know how to throw down. Like I think that's probably where I get my cooking from. Even though my mom didn't teach me how to cook, like I learned myself like from YouTube and shit. But like over time I've learned how to cook. And well, you know, people tell me, you know, that I know how to cook, so that's how I feel like I know how to cook. So my aunt called me one time and she was just venting to me. She was just like, Dory, like, you know, because that's what they call me too. It's like, Dory, you know, your mama, like, you know, she here or whatever, but I know she don't have nowhere else to go, but like she's really like stressing me out right now. She was already dealing with some other stuff, so she was like, I'm already dealing with stuff, and she's, you know, using all of the dishwashing liquid and using all of the laundry detergent, cooking up all of the food, and you know, just not really being a responsible adult, not acting like an adult who ain't got shit, pretty much. Like if you're living with somebody and you ain't got a car, you ain't got a job, you ain't got nothing really to your name, stay in your place, because you can't replace none of the stuff that you're using. You can't do that, so you kind of got to keep it low key. And so that began to bother my aunt. One time my aunt and her boyfriend, they decided to talk to my mom about it, because, you know, I told her, like, just talk to her, because, you know, we see that my mom is kind of like starting to lash out again like she did in the past, and we didn't want her to have like a breakdown, or not a breakdown, but fuck it, I don't know what you call it, but just a meltdown or whatever it has been that she's been doing, where she like just all of a sudden loses it. Like we didn't want that to happen anymore, and so we were trying to prevent it. So my aunt was like, hey, maybe we'll just have to talk to her and see, you know, how she feels, to see how she reacts. And so I'm like, okay, cool, I'm cool with it. I agree, I think you should. So they did that, and so I don't really know exactly how the conversation went, but pretty much it went like, you know, things that you're doing, you need to chill out, you know, we're trying to get you some help, we're gonna try to, you know, get you a job, but you know, you can't quit this job this time, you gotta help us help you, pretty much type of conversation. And so my mom really didn't take it that well, and so they ended up exchanging words, and long story short, they got into it verbally. And my aunt called me. Did my aunt call me? Yeah, my aunt called me and told me, and I'm like, well, I'm about to come pick up my daughter, because my daughter was with my mama, and I'm like, I'm about to go pick her up, because like I can't, I'm not gonna continue to deal with this behavior in front of my baby. We hopped in the car and we went to my aunt's house, and well, we drove to my aunt's house to pick up my daughter. I remember seeing the look in her face. I remember seeing the look in she had a certain look in her eyes, like she was really upset, like she was hurt, angry, like I don't know, just angry at the world, bitch. I didn't say anything to her, and I didn't, you know, like we didn't discuss anything after that. So I got home and my aunt calls me again, and either my aunt or my aunt boyfriend, because my aunt boyfriend used to always like call. So I don't know, one of them, they called and they were like, as soon as you left, your mama just got up and went on the patio door and slammed it and started like screaming in a way. And I'm like what, like why is she doing all of this? Like it's unnecessary. Like what the fuck is her problem? Pretty much whenever she did that, my aunt boyfriend had came outside and was like, hey, what you doing? Like why you slamming my doors and stuff? Like you being real loud, and like what's going on? Like talk to me. So he was trying to talk to her to see what was going on in her head, why she was acting the way that she was acting. And so pretty much she felt like I did that, like I took my daughter away from her to hurt her. She just started rambling about a bunch of other stuff pretty much, and so they didn't really agree on things. And so my mom ended up leaving the next day. Now I don't know what she's talking about. I'm removing my daughter from a situation that's not really appropriate, and so she just really didn't understand that, I guess. And so that's another thing that she kind of like held against me. So y'all, my mom leaves my aunt's house the very next day, and no one knows where she is. Like she ain't had no car, y'all. She was literally on foot. And Houston is a big ass city, and Houston is also not a city for you to be like, it's not walker friendly, period. Like it's really not. Mom left, and so we didn't know where she was other than what we were seeing on social media, because you know, like I said, y'all, she would post everything on social media, and around this time she was doing that exact same thing. And so days go by, and you know, she's posting things like random strangers, posting pictures with random strangers, and posting pictures of meals that we're not sure how she paid for or who paid for it. And then the worst of them all, her being posted up at the hospital once again. Now I say the worst of it all not because, you know, like she was real fucking sick, bitch. Like no, none of that, not at all whatsoever. I say that simply because my mom around this time, because she didn't have nowhere to stay, because she was roaming the streets, you know, she was being so stubborn and didn't want nobody to help her, none of that. And you burning her bridges with everybody, going off on everybody. So at this point, nobody in the family is talking to her because she fucked over everybody, you know. And so, I mean, at this time, her and my grandma was, you know, they were still kind of on edge. I mean, they were semi kind of sort of not talking, but still they were really wasn't fucking with each other either. So she's by herself in the streets of Houston. No one knows what the fuck she is. No one knows where the fuck she's going other than what's on Instagram. And so what's on Instagram also at this time is her posted up at random hospitals. You know how whenever you go to a restaurant or whatever, you order something real cute, it's plated real nice and shit, and you take a picture. Like, that's what my mom was doing. The only difference was it was hospital food, and it was her being located at the hospital. And so that was really irritating to me, because I felt like, you doing all of this for what reason? You're going to these hospitals, you know, when these people could be really helping like other people who really need help, and you're wasting their time just because you simply don't know how to keep your mouth closed and just get help from the people who are, you know, trying to help you. And so now you posted up at hospitals eating their food and using up their Wi-Fi and shit because your phone off. So the only reason or the only way you're able to even post on social media is because you on Wi-Fi through hospitals and through McDonald's and stuff like that. So it was just a whole fucking mess, a whole mess. And so,
well, goddamn, you don't say.
So y'all, at this point, she's on social media, and I'm just like, oh my god, you really using up these people's time only because you're homeless by choice. Remember that nobody kicked her out, because that's another thing she liked to say whenever she would go on these Facebook rampages. She liked to say that we kicked her out, or we got her homeless, or we don't care about her and stuff like that. Mind you, she left by choice. By choice. My aunt didn't tell her she needed to leave, none of that. She just left. She just got into the argument. She left by choice, whatever. A couple days passed by, and then I noticed on Instagram, she's posted up on Instagram with Mouth, and they taking a selfie together. And I'm like, oh, well, maybe it's a throwback picture, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's Thursday or not that day, but bitch, I thought it was a fucking throwback, you know what I'm saying? Another thing she would always do is like post her locations, like tag her locations. And so I look at the picture and I look at the location, and it's Houston. And so I know that doesn't necessarily mean that she's in Houston with her Mouth, you know, that doesn't mean that, but it meant that for this case. Bitch, Mouth was in Houston. Mouth had made his way from New Orleans to Houston, Texas. I don't know how, bitch. I don't know who got his ticket. I assume he did the bus, because, you know, the nigga broke. He ain't gonna get it no other type of way. Yeah, like, I was surprised. And so I also noticed that my mom had been living with a friend of hers, and she had also been posting her stay with her friend. And her friend is this girl, I think she went to high school with her, and so she had triplets, and they were all boys, and I think at this time they were like 17-year-olds or something like that. But she had a house, a nice big house in Houston, or I think in Humble, Texas, actually, which is like really literally it's in Houston, but like not really in Houston, like the outskirts. But she was there, and so she was living with her friend, and so she's like posting on Instagram, posting a picture of her friend and captioning it stuff like, oh, thank you so much for your hospitality. She was just thanking her for helping her out pretty much. And so Mouth was also there with her, and I'm like, oh wow, so my mom is there, Mouth is there, both of y'all, what the hell? But she had a place to stay, so I was happy for her. I'm like, cool, great, maybe it'll work out better for her being over there. You know, they ain't got no history, they ain't got no background, they ain't got no bad blood between each other, so maybe it's gonna actually work out. A couple days go by, y'all, and I go to work. At this time I was working overnight. I had picked up an overnight shift. Well, not picked up, but I was still working at the call center at this time, but instead of me working in the daytime, I was working overnight. And so I was working overnight, and I think my schedule was from 10 to 5, or no, not 10 to 5, from 7 to 5 or 8 to 5 or 9, I don't know, some shit like that. I would go to work, and Freddie would be at the house with children. I'm working, everything's fine, you know, chit-chatting with my coworkers, you know what I'm saying? I used to even like share little stories here or there with my coworkers about my mama, because they kind of like, you know, knew the situation too. But girl, we couldn't have our phones on the floor, obviously, because it's a call center. But I still have my phone, bitch. I don't give a fuck. Freddie calls me and I'm like, why he calling me? He know I'm at work. Like, why the fuck is he calling me? Then he texts me. I don't know exactly what his words was, but pretty much it was like I knew that it was urgent for me to call his ass. So I called him. I stepped out. I went to the break room and called him, and he's like,
yo, you need to hurry up and get home because your mom just came to the house banging on the door.
Now mind you, bitch, it's about 3-4 o'clock a.m. Whenever he told me that, I'm kind of like confused, like, what the fuck is she doing in my house? Why she's at my house at this time of the night, banging on my window, scaring my children, being loud and absurd. But he's like, I'll tell you when you get home. So I hurry up and make it home, and he spilled all the tea. Girl, he said my mom, because at this time my mom was gone, obviously. He said my mom banged on the door or banged on the window because prior to that I had been ignoring her calls. Now I forgot to say that. I should have said that before I said that. But prior to this happening, I have been ignoring my mom's calls. She had been emailing me, asking me if we were okay. I had just been ignoring her completely because as I had picked up my daughter, I hadn't talked to her since that day. And so I had been ignoring her because, like, I didn't want to talk to her. I didn't want to hear any excuses, hear any reasons, explanations, none of that, because I'm just gonna tell her what's right and she ain't gonna hear it, and then we just gonna get into it and I ain't have time for that. So I just said, fuck it, I ain't gonna answer her calls. And so she took that and ran with it, bitch. She thought something was, quote unquote, thought something was wrong and popped up at my door worrying my children. And so he said whenever he opened the door for her, she was like,
what's going on? Is the door okay? Because she hasn't been answering my phone calls.
He was like,
yeah, she's at work right now. Like, she's okay.
He told me that she appeared to look really, really distressed, like she had been walking the streets. Like at this point, my mama had gotten darker because my mama had been out in the sun, out in the heat and shit, walking because she ain't had nowhere to go previously. But she just didn't look herself. And so whenever he told her that, she eventually left. But bitch, guess who the fuck bought her? Guess who brought her to my motherfucking house at 1 or 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning? Guess who bought her? Motherfucking Mouth brought her to my house. Now my Mouth, first of all, if you're watching this, if ever was to watch this, you know you had no business even being in Houston to begin with, and then yet alone to bring her to my house. You, like, seriously, to my house for what reason? Why would you bring obviously mental unstable woman to her daughter's house, her grown-ass daughter's house at that time of the night? I'm grown. If something's wrong, give me 24 hours, bitch. You can't even report nobody missing until, like, what, 48 hours, 24, 48 hours, something like that. I don't know. But I'm grown. If I don't answer my phone, honey, give me some time. I got kids. I had 2 kids at that time. Like, let me breathe. I didn't want to talk to her. I mean, she didn't know of the reason why I didn't want to talk to her, but I don't know, like, we wasn't talking. We hadn't talked since the day I had picked up my daughter, period. I'm really out here bugging after he told me that. I'm like, oh my God, now I don't even feel like safe. Now I gotta feel the need to look over my shoulder every time I walk out of my house because my mama possibly is gonna fucking stalk me or pop up at my shit just simply because I'm not answering my phone. What type of shit is that? Once he told me all of that, I was like, you know what, I'm fed up with it. Like, I can't deal with it no more. So I emailed her, and so I can't find this particular email nowhere, bitch. Like, I can't find it. I don't know why. Like, I just saw it the other day and now all of a sudden I can't find it. The email pretty much was saying, like, I don't appreciate you coming to my house, scaring my kids, disturbing the peace, all simply because I wasn't answering the phone. And then I said some other stuff, and I don't remember. After this happened, time went by, we wasn't talking, posting her still being in hospitals, and like different hospitals, y'all, not the same ones. Like, you know, she was smart with it, bitch. Like, she ain't go to the same hospital. She kind of switched it up a little bit. She goes to the hospital for like blood pressure issues because she has high blood pressure. By her doing all of this walking and stuff, she has so much fluid in her legs and stuff would swell, and you know, she would go to the hospital for that, but really it was because she needed a place to stay. She knew for sure that she was going to get some type of care at the hospital because, you know, she had obvious signs. I saw that, I'm just like so disgusted at this point because I'm just like, like, how can she like let herself go like this? And also, y'all, she was supposed to follow up with her probation officer after she had got out of jail that last time, but she didn't, and so she was on a run. And so I don't even know if she was supposed to be in Houston. I don't know, bitch, because I believe she was on probation because she had to go to court or something like that. I don't know. But what I do know, she wasn't following up with the people, so she's away in Houston while she got some stuff to take care of in Louisiana, which is another bad choice that my mom made. So here's where it gets interesting. My mom had no place to stay, and so I guess I don't know exactly what happened with the friend that she was staying with in Houston, Texas. I don't know what happened, but she ended up not staying with her no more, and she ended up going back to Louisiana. Now, from my understanding, Rough Rider paid for her trip to go back to Louisiana because Mouth had already left by this time. So yeah, she had ended up leaving, and so she went back to stay with Rough Rider, and so you know, I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I knew this because my grandma was still kind of in communications with her semi, you know, back and forth throughout this time. My mom wasn't really feeling her situation with Rough Rider, and so she was like, you know, discussing that with my grandma, and my grandma was trying to figure out a way, like, to get her somewhere. She asked a couple of my family members who actually lived in New Orleans, and they really wasn't trying to fuck with it, especially knowing the situation. My grandfather's grandson, he had like a bar in New Orleans, and so, or he has it in New Orleans. He was trying to get my mama on there, like, to work there or whatever, and I don't think she actually did it, but he was talking about it. But my grandma has a friend who lives, a childhood friend that she had grew up with, and they went to like high school together. She lived in Laplace, Louisiana. Now, Laplace, Louisiana is, I don't know exactly how far it is from New Orleans, probably like an hour or so from New Orleans, if that. It's a really, really small city, small country town. Everybody know everybody. It was her and her husband, and I believe they were both retired. They had a house to themselves. It was just them two, and they had an extra room. So my grandma was talking to her about the situation because the lady, she actually has a daughter who suffers from bipolar, I think schizo as well. And so they were kind of like, you know, clicking at this point. It had been some time since they had been talking, and so they was reconnecting, and my grandma talked to her, and they came up with an idea of her allowing my mom to come down there to Laplace with her, to come stay with her and her husband. That's what she did. She was so nice and, you know, offered my mom a place to stay. So my mom left from Rough Rider to this lady house. Let's give her a name. Let's call her Miss D. So she was staying with Miss D and Mr. C. Yeah, Miss D and Mr. C. And so Miss D, just a little quick background on Miss D. Miss D was actually a recovering crack addict, and so at this point she had, you know, been recovered. I don't know how long she had been clean, but I know for sure that she had been struggling with that in her past. And so my grandma had kind of told me that about her, because I hadn't known anything about this lady until now. So she had told me that. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like, you know, I'm glad she's recovered. And her husband, Mr. C, he actually was diagnosed with pancreas cancer, I believe. He was cured of it at this time, I believe. Boom, my mom moved in with them, and so they have a nice, lovely house, nice house. And then they had like 2-3 cars, and not only that, they also had a relative. I don't know if it was a niece or nephew, somebody related to either Mr. C or Miss D. They had a restaurant in New Orleans, Louisiana, in the French Quarters. And so the lady who owned the restaurant, she offered my mom a job because she had an open position. And so I don't really 100% know what the position was. I think she was like taking orders or something. She wasn't in the kitchen, I don't think. But she was doing really good. Like, y'all, she was really doing really good. She seemed, at this point, let's keep this in mind, let me say this, at this point her mind seemed back to normal. Me and my mom had made amends by this time as well. She ended up asking me, because she FaceTimed the kids eventually, and then I ended up talking to her and agreeing, and so we ended up speaking again. So at this time, not only did she move in with my grandma's friend, not only did she have a job at this time, we are also speaking as well. So we're on speaking terms finally. Ooh, girl, yes, I'm glad. I don't like to beef with my mama. Like, who wants to beef with their mom? Like, it don't matter what type of things she's done in the past. At this time, I'm still interested in building a relationship with her. Like, at this time, I still feel like it's hope. At this time, I still feel like I could still, like, have my mom. Mardi Gras comes, Mardi Gras season, and so if you don't know, I'm pretty sure y'all do know. It's a festival that we do in New Orleans every year, and so me and Freddie, we decided to take a trip to go down there. And so we had the kids. If you're coming from Houston, Laplace is gonna be before New Orleans. So we said, hey, why not, you know, bring the kids over there, let her spend time with the kids, especially my daughter. My son, he was really small at the time, so he didn't spend a night with her, but he did spend some time with her. My daughter, however, she did spend the nights with her. We were only in New Orleans for like the weekend, so maybe like 2 days. So we went visit my mom at Miss D's house. That was the first stop. Our first stop before even getting to our hotel in New Orleans was to see my mom, and I was really happy to see her. She seemed okay. She still didn't seem really like happy, you know what I'm saying, but she seemed decent, you know. She seemed like she was finally building herself back up, you know, because I was like, y'all know my mom didn't have anything, so she seemed like she was finally doing the thing, you know. She had money at this time. She was doing okay, y'all. My mama looked okay. She looked good, and she still had her car at this time, so she had a car, so which means she had transportation to get back and forth to work. She would go to work, talk to me on her way to work, talk to me on her way coming from work, telling me about her day. Every now and then be on Instagram showing her day. Like at this time she wasn't on Instagram that much anymore, but every so often, you know, she was. And that's another thing, whenever she's back kind of to herself in a way ish, she's not really on social media that much. Dropped the kids off, did shit, you know, went to Mardi Gras, ate places, you know, did shit that people do whenever they go to fucking New Orleans or whatever. Toward the end of our trip, right before we were headed out, because we drove there, so right before we left to go to Houston, we went to Laplace to go see my mom for one more time. Before we went back to Houston, we decided to go to IHOP. So we had went and sat in IHOP. It was actually my idea because, you know, back in the day, whenever I used to work at Taco Bell, whenever I first started working, me and my mom would like go out to eat, you know, like every time I got paid. I think our pays fell on the same week. We'll both have like a little extra money, and so we would like to go eat different places, and so that's what we did. And I thought, hey, why not? You know, it's the morning time, you know, because we were leaving that morning, so it's the morning time, let's go get some breakfast. Me, Freddie, the kids, and my mom, we had went to IHOP, sat there and took pictures and ate, talked, kiki, whatever, and we left. Made it back to Houston, and so a couple weeks passed, same old shit. My mom's still working, everything seems to be okay. Still talking to my mom every day, if not every other day, still working at her job. She's doing real good at this point, you know. One time my mom and we were talking on the phone, and so my mom, she seemed a little bit upset, and so she told me about why she was upset. She told me the reason why she was upset was because Miss D allegedly asked my mom could she get something out of her mailbox for her. My mom was like, okay, cool, you know, not a problem, I'll grab it. So she grabbed it. She told her to get it out the mailbox and then put it somewhere safe, like hide it, like put it somewhere where, you know, only I'll know that it's there. So I'm like, okay, cool. I guess she, you know, she didn't tell her what it was. She just told her to go to the mailbox. And so my mom goes to the mailbox, and girl, bitch, my nigga, it's crack. It's crack. It's crack in the mailbox. Oh my God. The lady got crack. She doing transactions through her mailbox. What the fuck, girl? My mom expressed to me that she was a little bit uncomfortable once that happened. And so she also told me about a time where her and the lady, they were going on errands. I guess the lady had errands to do or whatever that day. And so she met up with somebody. She, you know, met up with a guy and did another transaction and got some more crack, bitch. And so I'd be very uncomfortable too. Getting weed is okay. Like, well, bitch, no, it's not okay. It's not okay to get weed, but I feel a little bit more safer going to meet someone to do a transaction for weed versus crack. If it's a little gram of weed, like, bitch, in the state of Texas, like, they ain't even gonna lock your ass up, so you good. But crack, bitch, you going to jail and underneath. Like, you ain't getting out. Like, that's it, that's over with. I was like, wow, it's crazy. Like, do her husband know? And she was like, no, she don't want her husband to know. Which is Mr. C. And I'm like, damn, she hiding that shit from him. Like, damn. And so my mom was just telling me how she kind of felt like stuck in between, because Mr. C was a really nice guy, really nice man. And I met him as well. I met the both of them whenever we went down there to visit her. And they're both really sweet people. And my mom kind of felt stuck in between. She kind of felt like, I don't know if I should tell her husband, because like she really shouldn't be doing this. She's hiding it from him, and she already, you know, got clean, and now obviously she's relapsing. Like, I don't know if I should tell him, or I don't know if I should just keep it from him. And then, like, if I keep it from him, what if something bad happens to her and then I'm responsible? So she felt stuck in between, which again, it is understandable. Get it, girl, get it. But then she took matters into her own hands, okay? One day, I don't know, something triggered my mom. Bitch, I don't know. Supposedly it was a Facebook post, but my mom says it was a Facebook message. I don't really know what it was. I don't really care. But whoever it was, too, it was someone who was related to Miss D and Mr. C. And so she told that person, I think it was a man, I don't know who he was, but it was a man, I believe. And she told that person pretty much what she told me, you know, about the whole crack situation or whatever. And somehow it ends up getting back to Mr. C, and Mr. C kicks Miss D completely out. Oh my God, she got the woman kicked out. She got the wife kicked out her own house. Wow. In the midst of all of that, she kind of got into it with Mr. C. I don't really know what the conversation was between him and her. Honestly, I'm not even about to sit here and make like I do. But whatever it was, it ended up resulting my mom into leaving. So she burnt the bridge, another bridge. Let's go back real quick. She was living with my aunt. She didn't really burn her bridge with them because she didn't do nothing. But most definitely, she burned the bridge with Miss D and Mr. C. So we got another bridge that she didn't burn, can't cross again, it's done, can't come back to it. At least we thought. Okay, because you know, bitch, these story times are getting shit, girl, let me tell y'all. So my mom leaves and boom, I get that phone call from my grandma. Y'all know Granny right on it. Granny, look, Grandma gonna always tell me the tea. My grandma is good. Grandma, what's going on? Like, Grandma, I gotta call her today, as a matter of fact, to get some tea. I get a call from my grandma, and you know, again, that tone in her voice again, y'all. I know something's fucking wrong. Well, obviously, at this time, I know what's wrong. I know she didn't find out about the whole situation with Miss D, because obviously, Miss D and my grandma, they're closer than Miss D and Mr. C. Like, my grandma not friends with her husband. You know, she's friends with Miss D. So, I guess Miss D told her, and so my grandma was just expressing to me how she was so embarrassed. She was so angry and emotional and just like disturbed because she don't understand how like she could make a way for her to have somewhere safe, have everything she need, like rent free, everything she need, got a job, all of that. And then the car that she had at this time, she had a cash car. Her car at this time had been paid off. So, well, let me take that back, bitch. That title loan was still on that car, so I'm pretty sure they were looking for that car. But anyways, she had it all. So my grandma really just couldn't understand how my mom could make such a crazy ass, irrational ass decision to spread the business. Yeah, Miss D ain't had no business smoking crack in her bathroom and shit and hiding it from her husband. Like, you know better, girl. But still, at the end of the day, that's her business. Still, at the end of the day, that's her husband. My grandma she just could not believe it. And I couldn't believe it, girl, because I was just like, what the fuck? Why the fuck would my mama go and tell that lady business on Facebook, and now, boom, everybody know her business and somebody is knocking on my door. Okay, I'm back. Y'all, I didn't cook the whole meal. That's so awful, y'all. So I cooked the whole meal and all of this. After I had the conversation with my grandma and everything, my mom ended up reaching out to me, y'all. And so I wasn't gonna reach out to her first because I already knew, or kind of had a bad feeling that it wouldn't go the way that it needs to go, or the conversation wouldn't go like it should. So I was just like, fuck it, I ain't gonna say shit. But she ended up calling me. She went ahead and explained herself, of course, and pretty much was just justifying her spreading, you know, Miss D's business out. I had to be honest with her, and I told her, I was like, I mean, yeah, I understand that was like an uncomfortable situation that you were in, and you know, I that's fucked up, I understand, but that's also not a reason to just spread her business out there on social media. Now you got her kicked out her own house. Like, she been married to this man for I don't know how long. You up out here fucking up shit. Like, my grandma didn't have to do that. Like, I just really feel like you could have handled it a lot differently. I said exactly that, just in different words. She didn't like that, bitch. She didn't like that. One thing led to another. She started to elevate her voice, and I told her, I said, because it got to a point where like she's yelling and I can't even hear myself talking. I don't like that shit. Like, don't talk over me. Like, don't do that. She started yelling, and I told her, I said, Mom, like, chill out with the yelling. Like, we could just talk. We're talking normal. Like, just chill out. Don't yell. Please don't. And then she started yelling again. She was in the process of saying something while I was hanging up. I think she was in the process of saying, fuck you. And then I hung up the phone. Because, like, I'm not about to be dealing with no disrespect. Like, Mama and I, you're not about to disrespect me, and I'm not going to disrespect you, period. And if you can't respect me, then we don't need to talk. After I hung up in her face, I blocked her. I blocked her number. And so y'all know, if you block a number, if they call you after you block their number, it'll go straight to voicemail. And so that's how my shit was. And so she was leaving me voicemails, girl. Oh Lord Jesus, I wish I still had these voicemails. I might have something. I'm gonna have to look and search for my email, girl. Girl, she was going off. She was going off, y'all. Honey, let me tell you. She was saying all type of stuff, talking about I'm a hoe, just calling me out of my name. I don't know what else exactly she said, but all I know is I was called a hoe, and that was that. I was like, oh no, this bitch got me fucked up. Like, I don't know, excuse my language, but that day, that bitch had me fucked up. I'm grown. Don't disrespect me just for simply giving you my opinion. You came to me explaining yourself. I didn't call you. I didn't ask for your opinion. I didn't ask for your side of the story. You called me, and then you're upset because I don't agree. Like, you upset at me because of that reason. Okay, I unblocked her, and I was like, let me see if she gonna call back, because if she call back, I'm gonna answer, and I'm gonna let her have it, because I can't believe she disrespected me. Like, that was the first time of her ever cursing me out, calling me my name. That was the first ever. So I was really fucking surprised, and I was on edge, because bitch, at this point I was ready to fight. At this point, I didn't forgot who that was. I forgot that it was my mama. I forgot that I came out of her vagina at that day, that time, that second, that moment. I forgot all of that, because none of that mattered. She just called me out of my name, disrespecting me as if I'm a random bitch out on these streets, because I was giving her my opinion. That's it. She called me back, and girl, let me tell you something. She called me back, and I let her say what she had to say in the beginning, but then she started raising her voice again, and I just went off. I don't know exactly what I said. Honestly, all I know is I cursed her out, and I hung up and then blocked her again. And so after I did that, that was the first time ever in my life, ever disrespecting my mom, ever, period, especially on that level. I've done nothing but try to help you as a daughter, when really that's not even my job. Like, I'm not your mama, you my mama, you know. But I let all of that go. Before you just sit there and disrespect me over an opinion, over something I didn't even ask to listen to, you got me fucked up. I went on about my day. I'm just like, you know what, fuck it. Like, she on the block list. I blocked her from social media at that point. She couldn't contact me, none of that. Her Instagram page happened to be public, and so even though I blocked her, I was still able to see her page, probably from Freddie's Instagram, I think. I don't remember. But I was still able to see her page. The day after, I noticed she was posting pictures of her being on the road. And I'm like, what the fuck she on the road for? Driving to I don't know where at this point. All I know is that, you know, like I said, she always be tagging her location, and she was on I-10. And I'm like, anytime you on I-10, it's either you going to Texas or Florida or Atlanta, towards that way. And so I noticed the more pictures she started to post, the closer and closer she began to get towards me. Okay, the fuck she coming over here for? I didn't think anything of it, whatever. The next day hit, and I get up in the morning for work, and so I'm usually, you know, I'll check my Instagram and shit like that. So I went ahead and checked my mama's Instagram as well, you know, again from Freddie page, because I had her blocked. And I saw that she was on Highway 45. And so Highway 45, that's the highway in Houston, Texas, if you didn't know. But that's a pretty busy highway. And so she was on Highway 45, just sitting in her car. The reason why I know she was on Highway 45 is because she tagged her location. And then how I know where she was is because she posted a picture of her sitting in her car. On 45, they got a bunch of car dealerships on 45. So I could see like the car dealerships and shit. I'm like, what the fuck is she doing sitting on the side of the road? The time was like maybe 2-3 o'clock in the morning when she posted that picture. And I'm like, why is she posting? Like, what is she doing in Houston just sitting there? Like, obviously she's sitting there because she ain't got nowhere to go, like nowhere. But you're just sitting in your car just fucking like, what are you doing? Once again, I get a phone call from my grandma. Pretty much my grandma told me that my mom had sent her a crazy ass text message. I think I got it in my email. But pretty much she was going off on my grandma. She put my grandma and my aunt once again in the group chat. Another thing, my mama was telling my grandma that she needed to give her money. Long story short, my grandma had ran into some money. We are related to a singer, blues singer. I don't know. His name is James Booker. I'll post him right here. If I have any older subscribers, you may know who I'm talking about. But we're related to him. And so my grandma gets some money every so often for his royalties. And so My mom knew that my grandma had got like a large lump sum of money, but around the time that my grandma got the money, her and my mom weren't speaking. And mom was saying, you know, you have until such and such time to give me $2,000. Mom found out about the money is because she had previously went to visit one of my uncles, which is my grandma's brother, and he told her that, you know, they weren't getting the money because they split it or whatever. Like, what the fuck, you blackmailing us? No one owed my mom money. My grandma, which is at this point, she was just mentally drained, just over it, which pretty much everyone was at this time. Once again, my mom was like roaming the streets. I don't know where she was. A couple hours later, I had to get up for work, and so that's when I had woke up and I had noticed that my mom on Instagram, and she tagged me and it's saying on the way to such and such and whatever. I don't know if I still have the screenshot. If I do, I'll post it. But she tagged me and I looked at that and I walked Freddie up. I'm like, do you see this shit? Like, what the fuck this supposed to mean? And I'm like, she ain't about to come to my house. Like, the fuck? She ain't got no business coming to my house. She know better than that. She ain't about to come. Girl, I didn't expect for her to do what she did next. The way that the whole assault thing came about and what happened that exact day, it's a lot into that than just the assault itself. We gonna get into it because that right there was like, that's when shit really started popping off between her and I, and shit just really just was crazy ever since, and really just never the same. But we're gonna talk about that in my next story time, because I'm not making no long ass story times no more. Like, it be taking me forever. It be taking me like 2 to 3 days to edit some shit, because like, y'all know a bitch got a life, like a bitch got a real ass life, so it takes time to do certain things, and I need to stop fucking talking and just learn how to shut my mouth sometimes. So that's what I'm gonna do. And I'm sorry, y'all could catch the next story time next week on Sunday. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe, because you don't want to miss what happens next. You don't want to miss the next story time. And hit that like button and also that notification bar so that you can get your notifications whenever I upload. And of course, follow me on all of my social medias. I am on there on Snapchat and also Instagram. I think I'm gonna make a Twitter soon, but just not yet. But I think that's it. Let me get off here and stop rambling. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I'm gonna see y'all next time. Peace.